Hello everyone, this is Debbie from Ink and Page, and I'm here today with cards 1 through 7 of my March Archive 365 project. So I'm going to be doing those today. There is a new printable cut apart sheet for you guys to use. I find these very helpful in layering because you could cut around these if you wanted, or you can use them as a square and you can stamp around them, you know, tons of different options. I got into a little bit of trouble with some paint and ink before this video, so my hands are stained a little bit. It was distress ink, so it should come off, but no matter how much like I scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed, and it didn't come off. So anyway, I just thought I'd give you the heads up on that. And I also thought it would be fun to splatter some stuff. So I have some paint and just some watered down acrylic paint here ready to go. The other thing I thought would be fun is to splatter it like before I cut it. So I think I'm going to do that with this here right now. And then I also have a, let's see, do I have it here? I have like a couple of, oh yeah, I have I did ink a bunch of stuff. So I have one word here, unfolding, that I inked already, and now I want to spatter it. So I think I'll just do that all right now, get the messy part hopefully out of the way. Knowing me though, probably there'll be more mess later on, but you know, we'll see what happens. But so I thought it would be fun to just splatter this a little bit ahead of time, and then it will be, you know, dry and ready to go, you know, next time. If there's anything you don't want to get splatter on, just put like a Post-it or a piece of scrap paper over it. There's pretty much nothing that I don't want to get splatter on this page here. These ladies here. It's pretty good. Okay, it's not like a huge amount, but I think it's just enough that like once I ink it and we add it into something else, it'll just, you know, it'll just be that extra little bit. Although, did I miss I think I missed this one here. The only bad part about this is you gotta be careful because it's extremely easy to get it everywhere. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this guy up here to dry. And then, oh, and I'll show you what else I made for today. So I have all my words here ready to go in case I want to use them. And then also I die cut out some flowers and stuff. I just thought these would be perfect for this project. I used this die set here, which is one of the wildflowers. It's Wildflowers 1 from Tim Holtz. And I also used some random dies that I just have in my collection that are just leaves. So I don't know if I can link those, but maybe I can find something similar. They're the ones that look like this, these guys here. They're just one of those ones I just picked up along the way. And I'm pretty sure I got these on Amazon because I needed leaves for something, and that was the quickest way to get them. So that's how I ended up with these dies. So I did find them on Amazon. It was a very weird assortment, I will tell you that. There was other dies in there like trees and stuff that, you know, it's just a really interesting assortment. So anyway, I'm just going to put these aside, and then I'm just going to grab them and use them as needed. And then I figured whatever I don't use in this project, I can put either in my folio or in the kit that is still in the works. Oh, I want to do this too. So I'm still working on that, but you know, it'll be worth it. It's an Index X level project here at this point. And that one took me like 3 weeks. So I'm just going to go a little bit on this here. There we go. You know, you could put, you know, paper or something underneath there, but since this is the glass mat and the glass mat is like super easy to clean, I usually don't worry about it. You know, just a baby wipe and you're in business. Okay, so that's going to dry right there until we do that card. Okay, so I have all my dates here. I should have inked those too, huh? But I find this is also a good way to like get around like actually sitting there and inking the edges of everything. because everything just gets inked by accident, I guess. All right, so I'm just going to grab I thought this would be more fun. Like, instead of attaching dates to my cards this month, I put the dates separately, and then I'm going to I just grabbed, like, I laid out all my stuff, right? And I just, like, put little piles together of stuff to use. So let's just see what happens here. I have the extra ephemera right next to me in my little organizer, so just gonna see how this goes. I wish I had more time. I would have done all kinds of crazy die cutting, but I had to limit myself so that I would actually get sleep tonight. So okay, so I just want to trim this off because I can see a little bit of white on there still. I think I'm gonna cut this down too as well. So it's a little smaller. I'm really into the dragonflies today. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do with this one here is I want to, let me get the right inker. I'm going to just, this is not going to be super complicated, I don't think. But I do think what would be cute is if we put a couple of polka dots on this background here. I don't know if this is, do these qualify as polka dots if they're like, is this a polka dot? I think it's more like some kind of a random grate, but maybe I could put a couple of those on here. I'm going to put a little bit of the normal viscosity paint there because that is extreme. That has a lot of water in it to get the consistency that I wanted, because this is pretty thick paint. Right, so I was just going to go like quickly around the edge here. And then we can kind of go down here too. I'm going to layer the dragonfly on top, so it should cover most of the card. I have to admit, this like project has given me the opportunity to do things that I haven't had, like I don't always have time to do, like because I'm doing other stuff, and that's been like a massive like gift for me. Like I love to sit here and ink and die cut and stuff like that, and it's not always in the cards for me. So I just, to be able to do this and be like, oh, this is my work, you know, it's like, it's pretty amazing, I will say. Okay, so I'm gonna do that. That's pretty, like, this paint dries really fast, so I think I can already glue on top of that. Okay, so I'm thinking this on top of here, and I will have to ink around the edge of that. I didn't pre-ink because my hands were sore earlier today, so I thought I would just do like the minimum inking, and then I'll go back and do all the other stuff when they're had a chance to rest. Okay, that does not look as straight as I would like it to be. I love the color palette in this kit, is very chameleon-like. It can be green or it can be blue, and I'm super into that right now. I didn't, oh, for inking, when I inked these little flowery things, I forgot to tell you guys what colors I used. So I used Vintage Photo Oxide, I used Uncharted Mariner, Distress Spray Stain, and then I used Iced Spruce. Distress Oxide Spray. I wanted Speckled Egg. I thought I had it, but I guess I don't. I wanted to use Speckled Egg on this, but the Ice Spruce turned out all right. It gave it kind of almost like a silvery look to it. I don't know if you can tell on that, but it's like up there. So it's pretty. So it worked out okay. The other thing I was thinking is like, it could also use the paint on there. Let's see if this is a tiny one. I just noticed that this did not punch out. I used my Sidekick, the little Sizzix Sidekick thing, to cut these, and it did such a good job. And it doesn't require a lot of effort. Like my other one, I have a couple of die cut machines, but like one of them's the Vagabond, and that's electric, so you don't have to worry about that one. But like the other crank ones that are big, I have like the Tim Holtz big one. I don't know what it's called, but it's like bigger and you have to hand crank it. And that one is a little harder to use, I think, than or it's a lot harder to use than the Sidekick, I'll tell you that. Not because it's bad, it's just because it's just a bigger machine. So I love the little ones. I'm thinking about this right here. I need to grab my date so I can kind of figure out where that's going to go to. There's my thread. And here's my date. I think I definitely need to grunge this up a little bit. And then I'm going to use my quote. And I'm debating on how I'm going to use it, like what size it's going to be still. Okay. So I'm just going to go around this one. And then I'm going to go on the front just lightly, just to grunge it up a little. Yeah, because this, I think it's going to be too big for this card because I want the dragonfly to show. The quote's not going to be the like central image on this one. Okay, so let me cut here. And then I'm going to use my edge distressor on this just so that like I didn't cut that extremely straight, and this sometimes helps with a little bit of disguising that. Okay, so I got that. Because I think that'll be cute, right? With the flowers and then the quote. And then I want this to just pop a little bit. That's why I want to do the flowers behind it. So that it won't lay like exactly flat on the back of the card. All right, so let's do this. We're going to glue the thread to the back of the flowers first. Okay, so let's just go ahead and put some drops of glue here on the back of this. And then I'm going to just stick the thread on here. And just try to get it centralized right there behind this. And then I'll just trim off any wayward pieces. Okay, so then I've got this. I've been trying not to let things go off my cards too much just because I'm worried about how that's going to impact storage. I'm tempted to let that hang off. Okay, so let's do that for our situation here. This is going to drive me crazy if I don't put something behind it. I'm just going to use this. It's just fabric that I happen to have right there in my like little scrap drawer. I'm just going to grunge it up a little bit and use it because I promised myself I would not like go off on a massive tangent. So I'm going to use what's next to me and not go looking for stuff. You're not really going to see this either because I'm going to cut it pretty close to the edge of it. And this is just a really basic, like, you know, cotton print. These are the kinds of things that are really helpful to have laying around just because you can just use them. Like, this could be a piece of an old sheet or something like that too. That would be just as useful. I like these strip ones because they don't take up very much room. Okay. Okay, so we're going to put that on there. Okay, so let's do that. Just a little bit more glue on there. Okay, and then let's do this guy here. Let's trim this. I'm trimming the bottom because I can still see the cut line. I'm just trying to cut that really close. Whoops. Do I have like, I did have a little piece of this, didn't I? Oh my gosh, let's glue that on there too. That's going to be perfect. Just giving something a backing can make all the difference. I'm super sorry about my hands. They are so blue. I accidentally got chipped sapphire all over them the other day too, so it's been a rough week for the blue around here. Okay, now I'm going to put that on. Oh, I have to cut this too. I don't think I really have anything small enough to go on that bottom right there. I think that takes away from the other part of it, so I'm just going to trim these ones that are too long and get those off of there. There we go, that looks good. I have to ink the outside of this because I think that's going to make it look really good. Because that brown just brings everything together right there. All right, looking good. All right, that's first one done. All right, let's do another one. Okay, this one. Oh, I got another quote. Okay, so I got a lot of ideas here, apparently. All right, let's see what we want to do here. This is going to be a good centerpiece for this. What if we did like a tuck spot for this one? Let's do that. All right, I'm going to do that. I can see the cut line on this one too. Okay, so there is that, and I think I might grab... I'm thinking about grabbing this and mounting it on this one here. I might use my paper cutter for that, just because I want to get the lines reasonably straight. Okay, so I'm just going to put this down in the corner here. Okay, so I'm going to get this. That gives it just like a nice little frame, you know, all around the edge. I would have used that one, but it's not big enough. Okay, perfect. Okay. Get those guys. All right. Okay, I'm gonna put this right on here. There's something about that corner that was making me feel like it was off. Okay, so let's put this on here. There we go with that. I might change my mind. I'm wondering if that gets lost on there. I don't dislike it. I have one that's like this though, huh? Maybe we should do that one and then use the date as kind of the... Yeah, let's do that. Okay, and then let me make this darker too. And I can have this kind of go across the whole thing like a little band. All right, let's glue. I'm gonna glue this only on the bottom half so that the top half stays like loose and free flowing. Okay. This is die cut out of one of the papers from last week that had like some text on it, and then I just put the Uncharted Mariner over the top of it with a little bit of the ice spruce, because that, like, the oxide, like when you combine like the distress ink and the oxide ink, you get like a totally like a contrast between the two of them, and it gives you, because the oxide will stay on top of the distress ink, and so like it gives it kind of a I don't know, it gives it, what is the correct word? I have no idea. But it's like when you have like something like this and you use two different colors, it's always going to look better than if you just used one color, right? So this is two different kinds of ink that do like give two different looks, and then it looks more to me like artistically realistic, if that makes sense. Okay, really what I would like, okay, so when I did the inking of the die cuts, I also did a bunch of these papers as well. So I'm just going to take this paper here, and these are offcuts from my January ATC box situation when I made all the little folders for that. So that's where all this came from. So this is basically, this is a good scrap use as well, because you can just make your own little inky backgrounds here and then just use them for stuff like this. And basically I just used this to mop up the extra ink that was on my desk when I was done doing the die cut. So there's always going to be a little bit of extra. So you can just use the scrap pieces to clean up all the extra ink. And honestly, even if it's like inkjet printed, I have not had any problems with doing it on inkjet printed surfaces, on just regular cardstock, not like photo paper or anything like that. It hasn't like given me any problems. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep doing it until like something goes awry. Okay, let's do that right across there. And I'll put that there. And then we have our March 2nd card. Lovely. I'm getting good use out of the die cutting, so that's good. All right, I'm going to put these two aside because I didn't need them. And we will go on to another one. Oh, this is, okay, this is going to be one of my favorites. This here is, this thing, this is like a vintage graphic. I'm in love with it. I love this aesthetic, the white, the ferns, the whole thing. It's just amazing. So I'm very excited to use that as a pocket. I think what I'm going to do here is get myself a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to do a little spattering on the background of the green background here, okay, with the cream paint. This is a paper that was maybe for, I think this paper's from the freebie, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna go ahead and spatter on it so that it gets spatter, so that when I use it, it will have some spatter on it. It's like I'm, you know, doubling my work here. Okay, so that's gonna be my background. I'm just gonna dry this with a heat tool really quick. Okay, this is dry. These are inked. I'm going to do the same to the date here. I'm gonna figure out where I want to put that. I'm gonna get extra ink because this might need a re-inking job. And figure out where this is going to go on there. Because I want to use this like a tuck spot, right? So I'm going to use it so this goes behind the ferns. We could use the March 3rd as like the pull tab to pull it out. We could do that. So let's do that. It's nice that March is a short word because it gives us the opportunity to do things like this. Okay. I would like to have like a little thread or something behind that, just to give it a little something something. What we could do is a little bit of thread between, and I'll back it with a little brown paper so it's not just like loose thread hanging off the back of the card. I may have gone a little bit crazy with that one, but I think that's okay. Just get that kind of centralized there, and then we'll put it on this piece of paper as well. I think I'm going to go for this lighter end. Let's give this guy a little trim here. I just don't want the thread in front of this. So I'm going to cut that because it needs to go across there. Okay, I'm going to go on here. How wide is this? It's not quite wide enough to fit that. I have a bunch of other ones. Let's see if it'll fit that. They're all different though, because I used them for this one. It might fit on. What about this one? I could get it on there. I think this is the best fit though, so let's use that one. Even though it has the least amount of the colors that I want on it. Okay, I'm just gonna glue it right down there, and then this will also have a backing, you know, and it'll just give it a little more presence. Okay. I'm just gonna trim this. Just gonna grab my bone folder here. This could use a little bit of a press down. There we go. Put that on. I need to fluff my thread up because I kind of squished it down with all my cutting and stuff. Okay. All right. So this is going to go on here, and then I'm going to just glue around the bottom part of this because I want the fern part to be the tuck spot. This has to go down pretty low on here. And then this just is going to fit under here like that. It's kind of cute, huh? There you go. I'm going to probably clip this here just so that that like glues on there, you know what I mean? There we go. Okay. All right, look at that. I got another one. All right, let's see what's next. Oh, I have this cute one. Okay. This is my cheater frame. I like pre-framed the image so we didn't have to cut the middle of the frame out. I thought it would be fun to have like one that was like, you know, like different levels of frames. So there is going to be a frame coming along here later on, I guess, because I did cut the center out of one frame, but sometimes one frame is, you know, I don't want to cut the frame out of like a bajillion of them. Anybody who did the Wraithwood album knows about cutting the middle out of frames, because we had to cut the middle out of a lot of frames for that project. So I just prefer the whole having a range, you know, so that if you want to cut the frame out, you can, and if you don't have to. Okay, where did I put that? Okay, so I have the fabric here. I was thinking of maybe putting this on some fabric, because it'll fit. And I'm, like, as usual, going to grunge it up just a little bit here. I should probably just dye this fabric with some tea. Since I'm basically always going to be making it a little grungier. Okay, I'm just going to glue this right on here. And then that will give me my little kind of additional texture. I'll have to see what other fabric I have, if I have any other colors that would match with this. I'm doing my best to center it. I don't know how great it's going to end up, but see how that goes. Okay, now that that's on there, I'm just going to give this a little trim across the top. I glued it down a little bit from the top because there's this like weird bendy piece up there. Get a little bit more. It's like casting a shadow. I'm just going to pull some threads here. All right, let's add this to the card. All right, I like it. Okay, so let's do some other stuff here. I want to add this little seal on here, and I'm thinking maybe a good way to add the date too. Maybe down at the bottom. So it kind of goes like that. I basically grunged up my date like on every one of these. I guess I should have made it more grungy. But like I wanted it to be more, you know, light and airy. Because I guess you can always grunge it up more, right? so I'm going to do this. And where's my thread? Thread is my theme today, apparently. Okay, so let's glue. Oh, actually, I should probably ink around this. Okay, and then let's put glue on the back here. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to put this on there. I'm leaving the space where I want to tuck the date under with no glue so that it will go easily. It will slide easily under there. Yeah. Oh, that's the thread from the actual card there. Okay, so let's get this under here. I'm not sure how long this needs to be. Okay, so I'm going to cut off about half of the overage there. One of the things that I noticed is that when I make myself something like this, I will use it till it's gone. So it's like a good, like it gets used up basically. So like these brown scraps from that January ATC project have just been like a major boon. I'm using them for everything. I've die cut so many things out of them. And I've like done the inking to tons of them. I have a bunch I did with the colors from the keepsake kit, so that was that worked out really well. Now I'm working on using all of the pieces, the offcuts from my freebie and from this kit, which I did use a bunch of to make the die cuts and stuff. Okay, all right, there we go. We got another one. Okay, let's get the next one. Let's see what I got for myself. Ooh. It would be fun if you like had a friend you could do this with, and then they could make, you know, give you a bunch of ephemera to work with, and then you could do it for them. That would be really fun. Okay, so I'm gonna use this. Okay, so I found this. I think I had this during Junk Journal January. It was like just one of those weird pieces of fiber paper that you can get, and I think I'm going to do my house on here as like a tuck spot for my quote, and then have my two little butterflies on there, which I don't think this is gonna be too hard. All right, so let's see here. I want to make this slightly smaller, so I'm just gonna cut it down by one row. Oops, I don't want to go too far in. It's gotten a little crazy there. Oh, maybe I do want to do that. Okay, hold on. Okay, now I'm going to cut right here. going to cut this edge off so it sticks out like the other side. Oh my goodness. I think I need like a darker background. No, that's probably too dark, right? Should I go with that? Because I think all the other ones, it's not gonna... I don't like this background as much. I'm gonna go with this one. Just because the other one, I need to do something to it, but I'm not really sure what I need to do to it. I'm gonna try to get glue on the back of this. Let's see how it goes. It's not going well. I probably should use the glue stick. Okay. After much fussing around with that, okay, so now I've got this guy. And I want that to be the tuck spot for this, like that. Okay, so let's just glue around, oops, two sides of that one. Let's see how high up I want to do the glue. Okay, there we go. Okay, this is 100% going to need clips on it to get that glue to kind of bond. Okay, so there we go. We got that on there. These are going to go in here. Oop. Here. This one is. And then I have my butterflies. I'm kind of thinking of putting like one on here and then just one on the background for some differentiation there. I want to put this on here, but I'm thinking of adding like a little leaf or something. Maybe I need to swap my butterflies. Or I need a different die cut. How about that idea? Okay, well, I fussed around with that for a really long time. But I think I got it. I'm not sure if I put enough glue on that or not. All right, so this is going to go in here. And then my little butterfly can go over here. And there's a little bit of leftover thread that I pulled off of something. I'm just going to stick that behind this butterfly just for fun. And then we're going to put that one on the corner here behind. And then all I need to do is add my date. And I would like to add it along the bottom, so I'm hoping this is going to be okay for me to take those off. I'm trying to go in order here, so this is March 5th along the bottom. I'm going to do my little outlining trick again. I really like this on the dates. Okay, date on. And our cute little card is done. I'm going to reclip this just for good luck here. All right, let's go. Next one. Okay, things are getting a little messy over here. Okay, this one I have a huge amount of stuff for this one card, so I'm not sure that all of this is getting used. All right, let's ink this guy. I love this checkered background. It's so cute. All right, we're going to pop this little pocket on here. And then we're going to fill this up. Okay, I'm going to do like a bird pocket here. I feel like the thread makes me think of like a nest. It feels very like appropriate for this kit for some reason. Although I use it in all of them, so I guess it probably doesn't matter. Some extra glue there. I do not want to glue my pocket shut. That's going to be too wide to get in there. I may have to add a little glue on here. I was very generous in the middle, but not so much on the sides. There we go. All right, I'm going to do a little arranging here. To make sure there's no glue back there. Nope, just a tight pocket. Like that. There we go. Could maybe put our quote in here, actually. Let's do that instead of this. I want to add this little stamp too. Maybe we can add a piece of ripped paper around our stamp there. So now it kind of looks like it was ripped off an envelope, right? I don't even need to put it on there straight so that it looks like it was stuck on an envelope. Does this fit on my... No, it's not going to. Okay, well, I'll just ink it. It should be fine. Pop this guy in here. And I'm wondering, can I get my date to go right there? I mean, I can, right? So I think I'm going to make it part of the background. Okay. My fingers are just getting like blacker, or not blacker, browner. The blue is throwing me off. Okay, so let's go ahead and do right along the top there. Nice little... There we go. All right, there's that one. Now we can do... Oh, this is going to be our last one. I had a lot of extra left over from that one. That can go back in my ephemera pile there. Okay, I think my last one's right here. Okay, so here's my last one here. I've got this cute little frame, and I did cut the middle out, and I was sort of thinking if I have any of that leftover stuff from the house pocket one, that we could put this frame on it. And what I think I might do is just run some of this ink over it to make it just a little less blue. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna do that. Let me just go ahead and go around the edge of this really quick. Okay. Let's put some glue around the edge here. Pop this guy here. And then if I have any overage, I can trim it. This might just fit perfectly though. How's that? And then I can put my dragonfly right across there, almost like a window. Okay, I give my window a second to dry there before I start messing with it. I'm going to do like a little bit of a trim because I can kind of see this sticking out. There we go. Maybe I should have waited a little bit longer. I'm going to glue it down again though on top of this. So hopefully that should be okay. All right, so all that's inked. I'm going to re-glue on here. Just trying to make sure I get it on both the paper and on the thing. Yeah, it didn't really take down that end. So maybe I should have just glued the whole thing down to start. Okay, so then I've got this here. I'm going to put this in the center. Glue that. Okay, that's down. It occurs to me I could have gotten vellum or something like that too to do this little window. So I got to keep that in mind for next time. I had thought I might use some like brads or something today, but like I just never got to it. Okay, so I'm just gonna have that. I'm hoping that this is gonna help that stick on there. Okay, so let's put our dragonfly on here because this is gonna be one of my favorites for sure. Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to think if I'm going to put thread behind this. This is making me crazy. I might have to switch it to paper clips. I think I have a couple around here. Of course, they're like mini paper clips, not the right size. Okay, so this is going to let me feel safe, but also be able to work. So we're going to go wing to wing there, and I think we are going to put some of this behind it. I think I might go minimal on my edges on this one and not do anything crazy to this. I kind of like it how it, like, it looks all crazy, and I think, well, like, it's really weird because the thread, like, becomes many things. It becomes flight here. All right, let's glue this to the back of my dragonfly here. We'll just set that one end off. Okay, now we're going to go on either end of the wings. And I'm going to grab my date. Hopefully that can dry well we're doing this part of it. Let's go slightly smaller. And just go down there like that. I'm not going to back this one because I kind of like the simpleness of it, and it's a little contrasty, so the date kind of stands out a little, which I kind of like. I didn't end up using any words, huh? Oh well, I will do that next time. All right, let me just do a quick cleanup here. Okay, this is today's work. I have to say that these colors make me so happy. This is just like exactly like the breath of fresh air that I needed. The color palette for last month was really pretty too, but this one is just like kind of serene and calm, but also like uplifting. I don't know what the deal is here, but I'm really happy with the way these guys came out today. I hope you guys made them as well, and I hope that you will put them in the comments on the website. If you would like to share even just one of them, not all of them, maybe your favorite one, that would be awesome. So I will see you guys very soon with the next set of cards. So thank you so much for joining me.